What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dunk on AP podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the effects of the Enlightenment, nationalism, and revolutions. So, as we get started, remember, revolution and independence movements are happening all over the world in the late 1700s and the early 1800s. Okay, the causes are Enlightenment thinking in most cases. These ideas about natural rights, the social contract, growing nationalism and absolute monarchies, or the frustration therein, are leading to these movements. Now, the effects of these movements are really going to start the modern era. You're going to see new nation states rise up. You're going to see democracy and liberalism. You're going to see colonized states launch revolutions. So remember that so much of this springs from the ideas of John Locke. And go back, if you want to know a little more about what John Locke believed, just go back an episode. So let's get into the American Revolution to start it off. Of course, the causes of the American Revolution are probably pretty familiar to you. You have European Enlightenment ideals. You have mercantilism versus free market. You have the colonists really wanting a free market versus that whole mercantilist stuff. And then you got rights and civil liberties that are at odds here. And also, the colonists are frustrated over no taxation without representation, right? The idea that if they are across the ocean from Britain, they ought to have some sort of say if they're paying taxes to that entity. So, in all of that, there's the desire to self-govern, right? This leads to the Declaration of Independence, written by Thomas Jefferson, who famously said, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal," inspired by John Locke's ideas on equality and social contract theory. And from there, he continues to go on and really push these ideas that John Locke had wanted in that. Now, with the American Revolution, on April 19, 1775, the war begins with the battles of Lexington and Concord. And then July 4th, 1776, you get the Declaration of Independence, declaring the 13 colonies independent from British rule. Then October 19, 1781, the Siege of Yorktown ends with British General Cornwallis's surrender, effectively marking the end of major combat operations in the American Revolutionary War. Then September 3rd, 1783, the Treaty of Paris is signed, officially ending the war and recognizing the independence of the United States of America. Now, the effects of all of this is that it's going to influence other revolutions. It's going to kind of be the blueprint for what they can do. And it shows, hey, these big colonial powers actually can be taken down a notch. So it's going to give the blueprint for opposing colonial rule. It's going to encourage other colonies to consider republican governments. And it's also going to foster a sense of nationalism, so that people with a common identity are going to start to fight to form their own independent nation states. It's in part also going to inspire the French Revolution, which is a little bit less clear cut as far as what it actually achieves, other than, yes, efficiently overthrowing the government. So from 1789 to 1799, you get the French Revolution. It happens in part because of the economic strain from France helping out America in the American Revolution. You've got widespread famine and poverty in France. You've also got regressive taxation. You've got demands for equal representation, liberty, and human rights. If that sounds like Enlightenment ideas, it's because it is. France, you get, rather than the Declaration of Independence, you get the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen. The revolution actually begins with women in Paris rioting over the high price of bread. These riots, mixed with revolutionaries seeking political reforms, are going to lead to a march on the palace at Versailles, where they force King Louis to return with them to Paris. And you're going to get a hugely symbolic shift in power. And of course, King Louis will be killed January 1793. His wife will be killed shortly later, a lady named Marie Antoinette. Both of them were just very excessive in the way that they lived, considering the fact that so many people were dying of poverty. Now, you get the Committee of Public Safety shortly after this, led by Maximilien Robespierre, who is going to be in charge of a lot of guillotinings. 1793 to 1794, people suspected of counter-revolutionary actions were tried and executed by guillotine. Robespierre is actually going to be killed in 1794 after being arrested. In this anarchy, you get the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte, who ends the French Revolution in 1804 and takes over. So from the French Revolution, again, all of these sort of play off of each other like dominoes, right? You get the Haitian Revolution, which was Haiti was a French holding. So they produced sugar, coffee, cotton, and indigo. They had a complex hierarchical social structure, just like many of the societies at this time did. The enslaved Africans were treated exceptionally brutal in Haiti. And social tensions are going to exist between all social classes, though. The events of the French Revolution, the inequalities and the social tensions set the stage for the Haitian Revolution. So in 1791, Wealthy free people of color get granted full French citizenship under the new revolutionary government in France. This is going to lead to a slave revolt. And what you're going to see is that basically, kind of in the confusion of, oh, are freed people of color citizens? Are they not? This is going to lead to some anarchy in Haiti, and the enslaved population takes control of the entire northern province of Haiti. So, what's going to end up happening here is that the Haitians are actually going to win their independence. Um, so you get yellow fever and relentless attacks from Haitian revolutionaries. They cause a French retreat and surrender. Remember, sort of the hero of this revolution is Toussaint L'Ouverture. He's sort of the dominant leader. And eventually, Haiti is going to become independent of France, but they're going to face a lot of problems with having to pay back a lot of war debts to France, and that's going to cause problems that Haiti will struggle with even to this day. Um, Now, this is going to lead to, so again, this is like a domino, right? You get the Enlightenment, which leads to the American Revolution, which leads to the French Revolution, right? And then that leads to the Haitian Revolution. So Simon Bolivar in Latin American independence, this guy is going to lead revolutionary movements in Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, and Panama against Spanish rule. In Venezuela, that's 1810 to 1823. In Colombia, otherwise known as New Granada, that's 1819 to 1820, then Ecuador 1822, Peru 1823 to 1824, and then Bolivia in 1825. You get the Argentinian War of Independence 1810 to 1818, the Chilean War of Independence 1810 to 1826. You get the Mexican War of Independence 1810 to 1821, the Paraguayan War of Independence 1811, the Uruguayan War of Independence 1811 to 1828, and then the Brazilian War of Independence 1822 to 1824. And again, what you see here is the pushing of Enlightenment ideals just sort of makes these revolutionaries spread like wildfire. You even get resistance in places like Puerto Rico, where the Spanish controlled the island from 1493 to 1898. Lola Rodriguez de Tio was a political activist and writer who encouraged revolution in both Puerto Rico and Cuba. He wrote the lyrics to Lo Boroquina, the national anthem of Puerto Rico. You also get the propaganda movement in the Philippines, early Filipino nationalists who were a member of a bourgeoisie class who were educated in European cities such as Madrid, Paris, and Berlin. They called themselves Ilustrados or Enlightened. They engaged in nationalist causes for reform in the Philippines. Jose Rizal was a prominent writer in that movement. Now, in the bigger picture, people were discontent with big colonial rule and monarchy. So, if you don't remember every single one of those, that's the big idea that you need to know. Enlightenment ideas are spurring resistance to colonial rule and monarchical rule. Examples of resistance are, again, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, where you had what's called the Third Estate rise up against the two estates that are the nobles and the clergy and take power. You got the Haitian Revolution, and then you got the Latin American revolutions. And in coming from this, you also get nationalism leading to changing boundaries or unification. You get Italian unification. Italy had been separate kingdoms in 1843 and then unify as the Kingdom of Italy in 1871. And then you also get German unification. In 1815, the German Confederation was a loose association of 39 Germanic states overseen by Austria. Through the Wars of Unification from 1864 to 1871, you get the German Empire in 1871, led by Otto von Bismarck. That unification was achieved through blood and iron rather than popular movements. Then in the Balkans, which encompass modern day Albania, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Bulgaria, Greece, Kosovo, Montenegro, North Macedonia, parts of Turkey, Croatia, and Serbia. That this used to be a region under Ottoman control, but Ottoman dominance began to wane in the 1600s. So that Balkan nationalist movement was a strong nationalist movement developed among various ethnic groups in the Balkans. Independence for various new nations such as Greece, Serbia, and Bulgaria occurred in the 1800s. Now, with the Ottomans, you get Ottomanism. They sort of jump on the nationalism bandwagon and work to create their own nationalism. They adopt a flag, apply secular policies, and adopt a constitution in 1878. But Ottoman Empire is not long for this world. They are going to be dead by the end of World War I. All right, thanks, guys. I know this is a lot, but remember, enlightenment leads to nationalism, leads to revolution. It all starts back at the Enlightenment. Have a good one.